Good morning, and I am knowing that you had a wonderful 4th of July yesterday, and I just want to say good morning. Today is Sunday, and we have a really good lesson in store for us today. But before we go into our Sunday lesson, I wanted to say that Myrtle Fillmore is right here, and Papa Charlie is still up in Silent Unity, just keeping an eye on everything up there. And Myrtle is here with me this morning, just keeping an eye on Reverend Michael. I don't know why she'd have to do that, but it's all right. Myrtle's good. The opening affirmation is from Wings of Prayer, and this is from August the 3rd, 1938. The life of spirit cleans, heals, and strengthens us. The life of spirit cleans, heals, and strengthens us. Breathe into those words, knowing that when we are in alignment with the Spirit within us, the indwelling Christ, that it cleans our hearts, it cleans and heals, and it strengthens who we are and who we have come to be today, this Sunday, July the 5th, knowing that we have a purpose and a plan to go forward to live the life, to put joy, to put happiness, to put anything that we desire into this day and make it a magnificent day. And if you agree with me, I would also like to say and affirm that we have only one presence and one power, one life, one joy. We are always connected to Spirit. So again, let's breathe into that ancient truth within each and every one of us and know that we are blessed. That we are blessed and we are blessed. And we will end with our mantra that we use here at our church, which is, thank you, God, and so it is. Amen. The daily word for today is comfort. And the affirmation is, Christ in me is my comfort. And before we go into the daily word reading, I just want to connect up with Silent Unity in the Silent Unity Chapel back at Unity Village in Missouri and know that there is someone holding that sacred space. Someone there is holding that light of illumination for all the souls that have contacted Silent Unity, but they're also holding it for us. And as we sync up to that energy, we know that we are in Silent Unity vibrationally, and also that consciousness is within each and every one of us in this room here, and when you listen to this lesson, it's omnipresence. So let's truly take a pause and realize that we truly are connected. We are unified in prayer. We're unified in our truth teachings. And now the daily word. Experiences that move me out of my comfort zone are part of my life. The first day at a new school, starting or leaving a job, a new phase in a relationship, retiring from a career, the passing of a loved one. Any change can invoke discomfort, even grief. I grieve when I think of change as loss. Loss of security, loss of my place in my community, or loss of love. The Christ, the divine presence of life, love, and wisdom within me is my comfort, source, and it also comforts me through all of life's changes. I find assurance that although its physical expressions may change, life can never end. I know oneness and love with all who have been dear to me. Recognizing my divine nature, I know that there is no loss, change, or circumstance that can limit me and my idea of being comforted. And from the Jewish scriptures, the book of Psalms, chapter 71, verse 21. You will increase my honor and comfort me once again. And if you'd please join me in our affirmation, Christ in me is my comfort. Before we get into our talk, I have a little comic I want to share with you, and it's so appropriate too because we're going to be speaking about finding your own Mount Olympus. And so in this comic, you see a man, he's a hiker, and he's reading one of the signs along the path, which says, "You're hopelessly lost, Sorry, and we know that's not true. We know that's not true because as good true students, we remember who we are and we take every step more firmly in the truth, knowing that we are divine and that we're being led to exactly what we need to experience this day and every day of our life. This morning, again, we're going to be talking about Mount Olympus. Have you found your Mount Olympus? Do you have a Mount Olympus? Do you know how to get up that mountaintop? Do you know how to find that snow-covered summit? Are you still stuck in the valley? Are you still working your way up the Switchback Trail? This morning, we're going to be dealing with some ideas and thoughts, and I'm going to be sharing 10 key ideas that we can use on our path to rediscover our own Mount Olympus within each and every one of us, and also lead us forward in a path that we truly can travel. First of all, a little bit of history. The ancient Greeks believed Zeus, the king of gods, and the family of all the deities lived on Mount Olympus, which was in Greece. Many of the philosophers of the day really considered Mount Olympus as a figurative place for these god and goddesses than actually a place on earth. It's very much symbolic, but there is a Mount Olympus in Greece if you want to Google it. And of course, whenever we speak about ancient Greece, we always like to delve into, or I'd like to speak about some of the ancient wisdom. And a traveler asked Socrates how to get to Mount Olympus. And Socrates said, if you want to get to Mount Olympus, make sure every step is in that direction. Such powerful, straightforward advice. We must take step-by-step actions to find our own indwelling Mount Olympus. And symbolically, the Mount Olympus is our Christ consciousness. It is where we go to be refilled, where we go to get re-energized, where we go to contemplate who we are and rediscover the divinity within each and every one of us. Each of us needs to know where their Mount Olympus is. And we're going to be talking about that this morning. In the epistle from St. Paul, and this is Colossians chapter 3, verse 12, he says, "Clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience." It's very important when we're on a spiritual journey to truly realize that we have to give and allow our own self, our own soul to experience compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Because those are some of the energies, some of the ideas, some of the attitudes that we're going to need as we make our way up our own Mount Olympus. Whether it's for work, whether it's a health challenge, whatever it might be, we are traveling to that sweet spot, which we're calling Mount Olympus. Early civilizations reached and had a philosophy that would enable humanity to outline an efficient and complete way of practically applying the philosophy that they were teaching. And one of them is to have in mind the goal of finding and discovering your own Mount Olympus. So one of the first signposts I would like to share with you is desire. The first step is knowing your destination. Do you know where you're going? Do you know where you've been? You see, metaphorically, it's your Mount Olympus, because this is where you desire to begin the journey of truth. You desire to see your life differently. You desire to not live in the Adamic mind of duality, of even exchange, tit for tat. You can turn on the cable news channel and get that all the time, 24/7. But we're talking about this morning is a truth Mount Olympus. We desire it because we know within our soul we'll be drawn to it. One of the ways to discover your Mount Olympus, and your Mount Olympus can change. Your goals can change. But one of the ways is to truly outline it, or to put it in a diary, or think about where you would like to be a year from now, 5 years from now. Because what we realize, and what really psychologists have told us through studying therapy with human beings, is that when we set goals, we have desires, it increases our level of happiness. We know where we're going. We're just not like a rudderless boat somewhere, just floating with the currents of a lake or the stream that we might be on or traveling through. We need to have goals. So I'd encourage us to not only desire, but write those desires down. And journaling is a great way to tap into some of those reservoirs within each and every one of us. The second signpost on our way to Mount Olympus is inspiration. We have a destination we need to ensure we're inspired to keep going. How inspired are you to keep studying truth? How inspired are you to keep going deeper, to truly understand the meaning of some of these divine ideas? Or rediscovering the 12 powers, or rediscovering some of our older Unity teachers like Imelda Shanklin or Ernest C. Wilson. We have Charles Roth, Amanda's father. We have a lot of great teachers that we can draw inspiration from. And I'd encourage you, and myself also, we need to keep inspiration very much in our vision because it gives us the energy to move forward and also puts a spring in our step. We need to stay inspired for the long haul. Mount Olympus is a mountain. It's truly a mountain, which means that we have to pace ourselves. We have to continue day by day going forward, living the dreams, living the life that we want to live. So we need desire, we need to have inspiration. I'd like to share with you some wisdom from Confucius. He says, men do not stumble over mountains, they stumble over molehills. Many of the things that keep us stuck or in a snag or in a snit are molehills that are made up or based in ego-based thinking. We're sweating the small stuff. Let's get the big picture. Let's put things back into context, not only in our own life, but let's see the world differently. Let's see it through the lens of a traveler, a seeker of truth on their way to rediscover, to remember that they truly are from Mount Olympus, because we really are God's indwelling. We truly are God's having a human experience. Number 3, the signpost we're going to see along our way to Mount Olympus is responsibility. And I know many times when we hear that word said, responsibility, it kind of gives us kind of a lump in our throat. But we must remember, as creative beings with free will and choice, that means we have to take responsibility for our lives. And that means when something goes wrong along our journey, we take responsibility. We don't waste energy blaming the environment. We don't waste energy blaming this. We don't waste energy blaming it on anything outside of us. There's something within us that needs to be put back into alignment. And we do that as good, true students. And we know by never blaming anyone else, we're no longer pretending that those situations are snags. They're part of the process. We can walk through those snags. We can walk through those circumstances, and we keep on moving forward on our destination to find our Mount Olympus. Again, we need to take complete responsibility of our own lives first. We're here to change ourselves. We're not here to change other people. We do have an effect on the people around us, but our primary goal is to find our own Mount Olympus within our own consciousness and within our own soul. And we can make course corrections. Sometimes we realize that this is not the best way to handle this situation. Sometimes we realize through praying and having a meditative practice that we need to truly see this life situation, this relationship challenge, this financial challenge from a different perspective. So that means we can make course corrections, and I am here to tell you, all of us have made course corrections. And I am here to affirm that we will be making course corrections all the way up to the summit of where Mount Olympus is, because that's part of the journey. It's part of how we grow, and it's part of how we learn in consciousness. I'd like to share a thought with you, and this is from Benjamin P. Hardy. If you don't get your priorities straight, your life will fall apart. Each and every one of us has a Mount Olympus. We might have more than one Mount Olympus, but we are focusing this morning on trying to read the signposts as we move forward, so we truly can not only reach the destination of our own Mount Olympus, but we can truly enjoy the journey on our path of truth. You know, let's start having fun now before we get to our destination. The destination is great, but the journey is getting to the destination too. So the fourth signpost on our way to Mount Olympus this morning is energy. Who doesn't feel that they need more energy? Pure energy, the pure energy of spirit. You see, every journey requires soul energies. We need energy to function in this third dimensional world, and we have a vast reservoir of energy that we can tap into. This is very, very vital on the journey of finding Mount Olympus. Maintaining elevated levels of physical, mental, and emotional energies to remain on our Mount Olympus path. You see, if we're not getting enough sleep, if we're allowing ourselves to get too wrapped up in third dimensional things that are happening on the cable news channel, or we're allowing energy leaks in our emotional nature, we need to stop. We need to take a breath, and we need to reevaluate these energy leaks, because we know to get to the Mount Olympus summit, the direction we want to travel, we need energy to get there. You achieve these levels of energy by maintaining the proper sleep, proper exercise, proper diet, and positive thoughts. And taking Reverend Michael classes. That's what it says right here, Reverend Michael classes. It is important that we do this, because this is what keeps us truly in the energy flow of the energy to do what we need to do. You know, having a strong and a committed life purpose also keeps our energy fine-tuned like a laser beam, focused, concentrated. So I'd encourage all of you to be gentle with yourself, but realize that we need to monitor where we are energy-wise. And if that means maybe taking a little nap, or if that means maybe going out for a walk, well, however it shows up in your life, listen to your body. Listen to your body. Your body is not a slave to our consciousness. Our body works with us, and we need our body to get to Mount Olympus. From Bishop T.D. Jakes, he shares this truth with us. Don't let history dictate your destiny. How many times do we keep saying our own stories over and over and over again? Let's change that this morning. Let's start talking about our Mount Olympus. Let's start talking about the goals we personally are holding. Let us truly be in the vibration of a Mount Olympus consciousness, which leads us up to our fifth step, our fifth sign upon the way of rediscovering our Mount Olympus trail. And it's a very important one. It's courage. How much courage do you have as the Christ? Do you even think about this idea that you are the Christ? You are the son or daughter of the Most High God. You are part of God's creation. Creation would not be complete without you. We need this courage. Winston Churchill shared this idea. Courage is the first of the human qualities, for upon it all others depend. We need to have courage. We need to truly have courage in ourselves. Believe in ourselves every day. Not just every other month, every single day. We need to recommit ourselves to our spiritual practice. And if we believe in our divinity, it will lead us to more and more courage. We develop our courage muscles by knowing exactly what our fears are and taking proper action. We all have life fears. We all have fears in our life. We don't run away from them. We don't put a lid on them. What we do is we confront them. We look at them, we pray with them, and we realize what is the lesson that they can offer us. And then we move through them. And then we reclaim that energy, because that's part of the energy we're going to need to continue up the switchback as we head forward this Sunday to truly getting to the summit of our Mount Olympus consciousness. I'd like to share a story with you. A young mother was ready for a few relaxing moments after a very long and demanding workday. "Read me a story, Mom," the little girl requested. "Give Mommy a few minutes to unwind. Then I'll be ready to read you a story," pleaded the mother. The little girl was insistent. Mommy, Mommy, read me my story now. With a stroke of genius, so the mother thought, she tore the back page off of the magazine she was reading. It contained a full-page picture of the world, and the mother proceeded to tear the page up into several pieces. The mother then asked the daughter to put the picture back together. A short time later, the little girl announced to her mother the puzzle was completed. Her mother was a little bit astonished. The picture was a picture of the world, and the picture that she put back together from the torn pieces of the little puzzle the mother made were completely accurate. The mother couldn't believe her daughter could do that, especially so quickly. She asked her daughter, how did she manage to do that so quickly? The little girl explained on the reverse side of the magazine page, there was a picture of a little girl. You see, Mommy, when I got the little girl put together, the whole world came back together. And what I love about this story is that in our life, there's always on a page, there's a front and a back. Where are we looking at? Where are we putting our attention? Kind of like the journey for Mount Olympus. Where is our direction, our vision, looking for the solution? And what I love about that story is the mother thought putting the world together would be a difficult thing to do. She never thought about what was the image on the back of the page. And it just happened to be a little girl. Let us take our life in bite-sized pieces. Let us take what appears to be the puzzles of our life, and let's piece them together so we truly can create the picture that we want to experience in our own life. And what this story really is telling us is that if we peel away any troubling situation, we can always find the right way to walk through that situation. I'd like to share with you a quote, and this is from John Chambers. Deal with the world the way it is, not the way you wish it was. Wishing from a third-dimensional level gets us nowhere. If the cabbage is not good anymore, we throw it away, we toss it. Let's deal with what is. Moaning and bemoaning things in life gets us nowhere. It causes, again, energy leaks. We need all the energy we have to move forward to find our Mount Olympus. Also, this brings up the idea of the letter of the law. See, when we're living in the letter of the law, and I'm talking about a ritualistic way, like the Pharisees did in Jesus' time, we forget to incorporate God's healing love. And that love gives us direction. That love allows us to be in a softer state to really see people who they are, to see our own self, who we are, what we're experiencing right here and right now. And this also helps keep our energy level where it needs to be. It's easy to let the Adamic, legalistic thoughts fill our mind. You see, we're surrounded with so much negativity. They call it being realistic on TV, but we're surrounded with so many things that just tear at our consciousness, distract us from our path. We're on a path as a true student to find our Mount Olympus. And as we're living our life, we can live our life and live our relationships, do what we need to do, go to the store, put gas in the car, but we still are on a path as the seeker of truth. Bits, and I love this idea, bits of negative yeast can spread through an entire good batch. Negative thoughts do not serve us well. We need to let them go. We need to stop thinking negatively, letting that negative energy deplete from us who we are. I'd like to share with you a quote, and this is from a healer from the early 1920s, and his name was Reverend George C. Golden, and he shares this truth with us. It is an old truth that you become what you contemplate as the law of your being. Again, like that picture, what are you looking at? Because what we see, we become that image. Remember what the ancients said. The law in the universe is like a mirror. We put into the mirror the image that we're staring at. So if we don't like the way we're showing up, or we don't like the way people are treating us, we need to do a self-inventory within our own self. Take a deep breath and continue on our journey to find our own Mount Olympus. Which leads us to the sixth signpost on our way to Mount Olympus. Talent. It is imperative that we individually align our life goals with our own talents. We're all healers. We're all spectacular Christ souls. But we need to remember that, and we need to live it. Each of us has a unique divine talent to share, to rediscover, and we need to do it today. Let's do it this morning. Let's rediscover some of the talents that we have forgotten about. What we need to do also then is to keep polishing up these talents, and we need to keep them current. Very important idea. You know, through talent, we develop our soul, and we also develop the ability to continue on the path step by step. Because we're not going to get to Mount Olympus if we don't keep searching, if we don't have a practice, and we truly don't want to realize deep soul awareness. Because what happens is when you tap those talents, it ignites our passions. It ignites our talents. Hidden vast reservoirs of talents within us spring forward. We forget. We've forgotten. We can do that. We can come at this situation a little bit differently. I went through something like this before. So talent and rediscovering these talents and watering these seeds of these talents within us keep us and aid us on our journey to Mount Olympus. Obstacles. Whenever you're on a path of truth, there are times that we can have obstacles. I want you to remember, obstacles are our self-doubts, and patience helps remap our lives. Any of the obstacles that we have, there's a blessing in each and every one of them. And it's our journey on the road to Mount Olympus with the truth that we've learned to turn those obstacles into blessings. We bless them. We find out the gift within them, and we each can do that. I'd like to share a story with you, and this is a story about me. On one of my daily walks, I was passing under a very large green pepper tree that had scattered thousands of little pink seeds all over the road and ground. And I wondered, how many of these pink seeds will end up as grown pepper trees? How many pink seeds will germinate? What are the odds? How many pink seeds must fall before another pepper tree is born? You see, consciously, we plant life seeds all the time. We have soul messages. Each one of those pepper seeds, those pink pepper seeds, is a divine idea that we can use. We can't use them all, but we surely can be using a lot more than the ones that we are using currently. So this reminds us and reminded me, how long before the messages of truth, these divine ideas, do they really sink in to my own consciousness that they become a part of my life? Again, I ask myself, do we expect everyone to understand and be engaged immediately? The first time you plant a divine idea, do you really think it's going to grow into a pepper tree instantly? Probably not. In our life, do we see and apply our pink-seeded opportunities? Again, each one of those pink berries off those pepper trees, and there's thousands of them that fall over the ground. They're kind of a messy tree. But each one of them represent a divine idea that we can use and plant on our road to Mount Olympus. We can plant those ideas and use them on our journey on the switchbacks as we truly head to the summit of truth. So again, does one attempt really get us to the mountaintop? Not usually. We have to come at it. We have to work at it. That's where practice, having a religious practice, is so important. You see, there's no one magic pink seed. That's what I learned. What we do is we need to keep planting those pink seeds. We need to find any pink pepper tree seeds in our life today, and we need to start planting them. We need to start noticing them. And what I love about the pepper trees too is that the universe always gives an abundance. There's an abundance of seeds. There's an abundance of divine ideas that we can tap into. And remember, the word abundance at the end of the word is a dance. Let's dance with the pink seeds of our life. Let us use and symbolically those divine ideas to truly live a fantastic life. From Ernest Holmes, this is from the Science of Mind textbook. Man's destiny is divine and sure. And we would know that man and woman's destiny as humankind is divine and sure. Do you really believe that? just because it's written in a book by a true teacher named Ernest Holmes. I'm here this morning to really remind not only you but myself that our destiny is divine and it is sure. And if we have that understanding, our road, whether we're going up a trail or going through a tough switchback, or where there's rocks on the trail, or the road or the path seems to be a little bit washed out, we know that we can make it through. It's part of our journey. The seventh step, or the sign that we're going to see on our road to Mount Olympus this morning, is imagination. Be creative with the obstacles. Navigate opportunities toward your goals. Again, let us see obstacles with our imagination. Let's use that divine idea to see through them, to reform them, to reshape them. Maybe we need to plant some more of those pink pepper seeds, because those divine ideas will allow us to keep moving, to keep pace, because we have a mountaintop experience that we are here to experience. Got to keep moving. We can flex our imagination muscles. Let's stop imagining the worst. Let's stop imagining the negative, and let's start imagining the good, the power of absolute good. You see, daily we can debrief and we can improve our thoughts and our life rituals. What kind of life rituals do you have? Maybe you should pray about them. Maybe you should put them to paper. Maybe you should journal them. We all have patterns. Some patterns are good. Some behaviors are good. Other behaviors we need to change. Maybe this is the Sunday that we can change some of those behaviors, because maybe we're walking a little bit too slow. We're not moving as fast to our destination of Mount Olympus, heading up to that summit. If maybe we could let go of some of those behaviors that no longer serve us. And what I'd like to share with you is that I call it paper ideas. Many teachers say the best way to truly open your imagination is put it to paper. Put it to paper. Do some creative writing. Do association. When you think of this word, what does it mean? Just like the word Mount Olympus, what does it mean to you? It can mean to you exactly what it's supposed to mean to you individually. We're all on a journey, and it can mean different things for different people. That's what I love about this idea and the concept of finding our own Mount Olympus. It's a consciousness that we are remembering who we are. We also can support the people around us as they travel on their journey to find their truly sacred place of the Mount Olympus within their own lives. We need to spark our own creativity. One of the most important powers of being a Christ or repeatable Christ is to know that we use creativity. We can use that gift to get us through any situation, to keep us moving forward. I'd like to share a thought from you, and this is from Oprah Winfrey. Real integrity is doing the right thing, knowing that nobody's going to know whether you did it or not. I'm here to tell you this morning, when you're on your journey to Mount Olympus, it doesn't mean that you tell everyone necessarily where you're going, but you do speak about it in your prayer practice. You do journal about it. You allow whatever that divine idea to be within you. If you're doing it to impress people, you're not really going to get much out of it, because that's not the reason why you're on the road to Mount Olympus. You're on the road to Mount Olympus to discover yourself, to rediscover who you are individually. Which leads us to our eighth sign on our path to Mount Olympus, which is optimism. Optimism is a key component to truly allow us to arrive at our Mount Olympus summits. How optimistic are you? I mean, really, how optimistic do you really believe that you are when the drapes are shut, when the blinds are closed? Do you really believe in the absolute good that we teach as good Unity students? You see, destination fatigue can set in. We have no energies. What happens is we have no energies to enjoy truly once we even reach our summit. So again, we need to realize if we have fatigue or we have frustration, let's journal about it. Let's reform it. Let us put the light of optimism through that situation or those thoughts or relationships so we can truly change how we're seeing it individually. You see, we can imagine living our best Mount Olympus life in all areas. See, there's really more than one Mount Olympus. Any goal that we set in a way is symbolically our own journey to to experience that Mount Olympus experience, that high consciousness. And I'd like to share with you a thought, and it says, there is only one person in this world who can tell your story, and it's up to you. Who's telling your story? Why aren't you telling your own story? Why are you allowing other people to tell your stories? We need to speak for ourselves. We each have a voice. Let us use it on the journey to rediscover our own Mount Olympus. And this leads us right to the law, or the famed law of attraction. And remember, the law of attraction responds to our thoughts and feelings, not our current reality. You see, not our current reality. Current reality is duality. Do we really want to live in duality? I don't think so. So again, who's telling the stories? Let's start telling our own stories from a Christ perspective. The ninth sign that we're going to see on our road or on our path up to our Mount Olympus consciousness is a very powerful thought, and it really seals a lot of these other ideas up, and it is never give up. Science shows us that the cure for all negative attitudes truly is stronger life goals. Living with a purpose. What's your purpose in life? We need to answer those questions ourselves, which go right back to the stories that we're telling. Maybe we need to stop telling some of the negative stories or the experiences that we once had. I mean, if we're asked to share those experiences and we believe they will help people to hear our experiences and what we went through, that's one thing. But just to keep telling the same stories over and over, what's the use? It really drains our energy. We should be a new creature. We should be a new creature and creator in Christ. We don't have to keep telling those old stories. Which means to never give up means we need to review. And again, we can make course corrections with a smile on our face. Sometimes we have to back up. Sometimes we really do need to put the car in reverse and back up out of that parking place because we don't want to be there anymore. There's nothing wrong with backing up. It serves its purpose. And again, we review our goals, and I want to share this thought with you. Don't make resolutions, because resolutions are really short-term. What we want to do is have long-term perspectives. That's a Mount Olympus perspective, because that draws us to the light, the inner light within our own consciousness. Because this also ignites our passion and our perseverance. Do you really believe you have passion? Because if you have passion, then you're going to have perseverance to stay the course. And that means you might have to buy a couple pairs of sandals. Because the Mount Olympus that we're looking and we're traveling toward, we might have to change our shoes once in a while. Remember, feet represent our understanding. It's part of the journey. Let's enjoy it. You can always get new shoes on the way up. I like to say, too, it's Mount Olympus or bust. That's the idea that we should be holding on to this Sunday. I'd like to share an idea, and this is from Emma Curtis Hopkins. This is the woman who taught most of all the great New Thought teachers in the early 1900s. And she says, deep within your soul is the God light of reason. Heed it so you will be good and do good. Are you willing to do good? Are you willing to be good? And I'm not talking about a phony good. I'm not talking about putting a pasty smile on. Do you really believe that you live in a universe of absolute good? When are you going to believe it? When are you going to believe it? Maybe today. Maybe this morning you can really evaluate your own life and look at any situation, and even though you don't want to necessarily live through it again, you don't want to tell that story again, you can bless it. And you can claim that energy and use it to push your soul forward as you truly go forward, heading to the summit of your own Mount Olympus. And our last signpost on our journey to Mount Olympus this morning is grit. Do you have soul grit? We all have soul grit, and we have more grit that we can tap into. So we need to find our spiritual Mount Olympus this week. Each and every one of us have more than one Mount Olympus. But I'd encourage you this morning, this Sunday, to find your Mount Olympus idea, this ideal that you're willing to work for, not only work for, but work toward, that you're willing to invest your life energies in. And I am here to say that when you've found your Mount Olympus, you'll taste it, you'll crave it, and you'll truly know that it's your Mount Olympus. Don't settle for somebody else's Mount Olympus. Don't settle for anyone else's hilltop mystic experience. experience it yourself, because you have to get there yourself. And then you'll truly understand it and live it in your own consciousness. And I'd just like to recap these ideas, these signposts that you can use. And it is, number 1 is desire. 2 is inspiration. 3 is responsibility. 4 is energy. 5 is courage. 6 is talent. 7 is imagination. 8 is optimism. 9 is never give up. And 10 is grit. This morning, let us truly find our own Mount Olympus. We deserve it. It's our destiny. It's time we start moving toward that goal right here and right now. Thank you, and God bless. This is the time in our service where we have the opportunity to share our love offerings, our gifts, and our tithes. And I invite you to take whatever your gift may be and know that it is the energy signature within that gift that we're going to pray over. I also would say that you can go to unityway.com and make an electronic donation if you wish, or there is also our mailing address there. And I just want to say thank you for all the donations. I want to say that when we are living in the flow of circulation, we are truly living in a world of cause and effect. And we know that these blessings go through to bless our church, our spiritual community here at Unity Way. It goes forth to bless Unity Village, Unity Worldwide Ministries, all the Unity things that we tithe to as a spiritual community, and Silent Unity too. There's Myrtle. And also it goes forth to bless this world. We touch lives. We seed the lives with this energy, and this energy is alive. So if you please join me, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I give and all that I receive. And we just say, thank you, God. Amen. And now it's time for our prayer of protection. And I'd like to dedicate the prayer of protection to each and every one of us this morning. That we have the ability to be free, we have the ability to think for ourselves, and that we have the ability to rediscover that we've really come to live spectacular lives. Not only for ourselves, but we can share that truth with all of our loved ones, and we send it through this planet that they may be loved and realize that they have self-worth, and they truly can be who they have come to be too. And if you join me, please, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Find your Mount Olympus this morning. Again, thank you, and God bless.